Hello, peoples. Well, I took a little break starting with Turkey Day here in the States and ended up with AIE giving me a full belly and an empty wallet. I'm sure most of you can relate. So let's get to it. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the MISC Razor EX and see how it does in a couple of short HRT engagements. This ship is meant to be a stealth interceptor and to go after small to medium targets or scout out an area. On paper, it looks to be a fast and maneuverable ship and should be a good solo dogfighter as long as you're not going after any large ships. So let's see if that holds out to be true and if you should buy it. As always, if you like and enjoy the content, please hit that like and subscribe with notification bell, as it'll help me grow the channel out. Don't forget that referral code in the video description below. If you've not yet opened up an account with Star Citizen, get some free UEC when you use that code. Okay, grab yourself a tasty beverage. As I'm sick of turkey and stuffing, let's go for pizza and sweet tea. Now, if you're in the UK, I know you have no idea what sweet tea is, as it's a southern thing here in the US, but trust me when I tell you, it's good. Sit back, relax, let's see what this Razor EXE can do. So first up will be Erkul. As you can see, we don't have a whole lot of firepower here. The default loadout is 2 size 2 Badger repeaters with 2 size 1 missiles. Again, not a whole lot of punch, but that's not where this ship is going to excel. The default components were replaced with slightly better ones. I went with a Palisade to give me a little bit of ballistic protection, a JS300 power plant, and the stock coolers. Now, here's a word. In 315, stealth is pretty much broken. You notice that we have an EM signature of 7655 and an IR of 4095 for our signature detection. If we change out to stealth components, you're going to end up spending a lot of money for no gain. As you can see here, our EM and IR signatures are not moving as we replace them with stealth components. So don't bother upgrading to stealth components. You're better off just upgrading your shields, because there is a difference between the protection you will get using a grade A shield versus a grade D shield. The power supply can stay the same for default if you want. I went with a slightly larger military grade power supply because I had it on hand, but you do not need to upgrade any of these components in order to make this ship better. Just keep that in the back of your mind. I'm sure that will change in the future when stealth components get reworked. So here we go into our first mission, and here's a PSA announcement for everyone. If you're having trouble completing the bounty hunting missions after you've killed the target and you don't get credit for it, the reason that I found is that, as you can see here, the target and the actual target location marker are in two different spots. They haven't merged yet. So in this case, if you were to kill the target before those target location marker kind of merges on the target, and you'll see an example of this in a minute, you typically don't get credit for killing the target. Bug, I guess, in 315. It seems to be pretty prevalent in a lot of the bounty hunting missions. Now, if you take your time and you wait, either you slow boat in at normal SCM speed, or you just kind of wait around for the target indicator and the target locator to merge, as in right now, see that they're both overlapping each other, you will get credit when you kill the target. There's some other little tricks you can play sometimes, that if you've killed the target early, you might be able to get credit if you wait for the ads to come in and then kill them before leaving the location of the fight. But this is the safest way. Just wait for that target indicator to merge on the actual target. As you can see here, we're engaging a Vanguard Warden, and here the maneuverability of the Razor is really going to pay off. Also, because of the slim profile, both looking at it from above on the dorsal view or head-on, makes it extremely difficult for someone to actually get shots to land on this ship. So that's a big added bonus. As you can see here, we don't have any problem dodging any of the missiles from the ads. We have 2 Drake Cutlasses here. Now, the Cutlass is not the most maneuverable ship in patch 315, and you could argue that its shields need to be improved and the overall tankiness of it is not that great. But as far as an ad goes, it's kind of nice to go after these targets in a razor, because as you can see here, you're not going to have any problem whatsoever keeping your guns on target. And that leads me to one criticism of the razor. The lack of firepower means that it is going to take you a lot longer to wear down the shields and actually kill targets in the razor when compared to other small light fighters like the Arrow or even the Carl II All, because the size of the weapons on the Carl II All are substantially beefier. So you're not going to do any speed runs in this, but it is quite capable of taking out pretty much any of the NPC targets that you will run across in a LRT or HRT mission. Even a VHRT, you could do it. I wouldn't want to use the razor in that level of mission, because you want to do fast kill times, right? Your time to kill should be pretty low on a ship when you're doing these missions, so that you can run as many as you possibly can. You're not going to get that, unfortunately, in the razor. I really wanted to like this ship, but there are two inherent issues that I have with it right now, how it's working with the current build. The first one is the lack of firepower. If CIG were to just bump those up just a little bit, instead of doing size 2s, have size 3s on there like the Arrow. Remember, you've got 2 less guns than the Arrow as well. It would make it much more viable. But it's not to say that it's not a bad ship. If all you want to do is reconnaissance, get in and out as fast as possible, do a harassment type mission, then the Razor definitely up there on your pick. But just be aware that it's not going to be the most efficient ship when trying to stack in as many bounty hunting missions as you possibly can at one point in time. Now, that leads me to my second criticism. The ship has very good rotational performance with pitch, yaw. Its speed it's blazingly fast, but it seems to suffer when applying vertical thrust. So for anyone that does a lot of bounty hunting missions, one of the things that you're going to find both in NPC and PvP combat is you will use your vertical thrust a lot to either get into a firing position or avoid fire. So let's compare this with the Arrow. So here we have the Razor on the left, the Arrow on the right. We're going after M50s each. The Arrow on the right has the advantage of really high vertical thrust as well as double the firepower of the Razor. So in the Arrow, we're going to be able to kill something really maneuverable like the M50 here fairly quick. As you can see, Arrow is already done. Now, if you pan back over to the Razor, you'll notice that we're having kind of a hard time jousting with this M50. And that's mainly to do with the poor vertical thrust, not necessarily the maneuverability, but the vertical thrust. And that's kind of taking away your ability to get on target as fast as possible. So here's another example. We're going after everyone's favorite, a NPC Hurricane. And this is to show you that, look, I can keep my target in the pip all day long in the Arrow, even against something like a Hurricane. The problem here is, as you can see, I'm taking hits. So the hits to my shield from a Hurricane in something like the Razor is not a good thing. And what you want to do is avoid that. And the way that you normally avoid things like this is, as you're putting your pip on the target, like I am here, you're applying vertical thrust to thrust up, because that's where the majority of your thrust, your strongest thrust should be coming from, is from the bottom. That's how you keep your pip on the target and avoid fire, with doing a little bit of, S-curve or whatever that you want to add in there, or corkscrew like I'm doing here, and just maintaining your fire on the target. Because remember, we only have those two very small guns, so we have to keep up a decent rate of fire on the target the whole time. And this is where there's a big difference between the Razor and the Arrow. The Arrow has no problem applying that vertical thrust and allowing it to miss or be missed by a lot of the incoming fire. So you don't really mind having a single size 1 shield. However, the Razor does not seem to share that same vertical thrust. It definitely has the ability to turn, and it does a slightly better job at turning both in pitch and yaw than the Arrow. But missing that vertical thrust makes it kind of haphazard when you're trying to take out a target and avoid fire. Even something like the Carl II has a better vertical thrust, despite the fact that it's a much bigger target for receiving fire. So keep that in the back of your mind. I really wanted to like this ship. However, for bounty hunting, I'd have to say no. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, invite you to let me know what you like and what you don't like about this ship. And till next time, take care.